All right, we are back with episode number 10 of Area 519 Talks podcast. I have a very super interesting guest on today. Her name is Dagny.
Correct. Yeah.
She lives in Toronto. And what's your last name?
Pavlak.
Sorry?
Pavlak.
Pavlak?
Mm-hmm.
And what is that?
It's
What's your
Polish.
background?
It's a Polish last name. Yeah. So both my parents are Polish.
So it doesn't end in ski?
That's a good question. Not all Polish last names end in ski.
I was just under the impression that everybody that was Polish, their name ended was something ski.
Yeah, a lot of people are. Yes, but however, that's not the case. No, I am Pavlak, and I am 100% Polish. Yeah, by origin.
Okay, so we're outside today. It's I believe it's May 3rd. Beautiful Sunday afternoon. So we thought I wanted to do this podcast outside, a little bit different. It's absolutely gorgeous day out here today, so that's why we're doing it outside. I hope the lighting and everything's good. But the reason why I wanted to do this podcast with Dagny is she's basically grew up in Toronto,
Correct.
lived in the city your whole life,
Mm-hmm.
and you are basically experiencing more of a country rural life experience at this point right now.
Yeah.
Tell me about what it was like growing up in the city, what life was like in the city, and how now experiencing more of a relaxed, laid back, rural atmosphere. What your perspective is on that?
Well, that's a loaded question, but yeah. So I did grow up in the city, lived there my entire life. So it is quite the drastic change, um, but it's a nice change. It's you become sort of a little closer to, I guess, for lack of better words, nature. You sort of figure out how things work that otherwise you wouldn't in the city, right? Everything's convenient. Everything's at within arm's reach,
Right.
right? Whereas, you put a lot more thought into how you're going to procure something or when you're going to go somewhere. Everything's far removed. So when I'm driving
Right.
for 45 minutes, to me is just like, wow, I can't believe I have to budget that into my schedule. And it's just
Well, living in the city, you probably don't own a vehicle.
Oh
it's
no,
all
it's
public transit and so on.
absolutely, it would be uneconomical to own one, right? You're paying for parking, gas, insurance, and just parking, and even getting through the traffic. It's ridiculous. Just
Right.
hop on the metro, on the subway.
Right.
Yeah.
What part of Toronto do you reside in?
The Bloor line. I see. So I go by the subway delineation.
Okay.
So I'm on the Bloor line on the west end. If that says anything to you.
Okay, I'm a country guy. I don't know much. I know I'm a landmark kind of guy. When we give somebody directions
Landmarks.
here
Okay,
in
I'd
rural,
like
I'm
to.
like,
I'd like to
okay,
hear that. Yeah.
drive down so and so until you see such and such a red barn, and then turn a left and you'll see the big oak tree.
They're all the same. Everything looks the same. What are you talking about?
Okay, so
which building?
Okay, so as a country boy, a landmark for me for Toronto would be CN Tower,
Okay.
Sky Dome. Okay, that's pretty much it. CN CN Tower in the Sky Dome in the. We can't really use you turn left at the big big skyscraper because they're everywhere.
Right. So much like my perception of the country is everything looks the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It's interesting. Everything looks the same. Yeah, we go into the city and everything looks the same in the city, and someone that comes from the city to the rural area, everything would pretty much
turn right at the oak tree. What's an oak tree?
Right. Okay, so
what's the difference?
Okay, how in perspective or in relevance to, say, the CN Tower, because the CN Tower is probably the most well-known landmark in Toronto, maybe in all of Canada. So, how far do you live from the CN Tower?
Um, I was just gonna be like, I'm at the Bloor line. I don't know. Is that not obvious? um, quite a bit away, Midtown. So, are we talking in distance in terms of minutes? Because in terms
Well,
of a drive,
absolutely.
it's
Okay.
also convoluted. Depends on traffic. Like, there's a lot of factors
Okay,
that need to play
absolutely.
into
Okay,
this.
I understand that. Here in Huron County, or rural area, or country living,
Mhm.
everything is determined in, oh, well, how far are we? Everything is determined in minutes.
Exactly.
So I live 20 minutes away, or everything's 30 minutes away. In Huron County, it is very accurate to say that almost everything is with, oh, we're 20 minutes.
Right.
20 minutes.
Okay, so let's just assume that roads are clear, there's no traffic, I'm in a vehicle. I would be probably about 15 minutes away from the CN Tower.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bloor.
Yeah, so Bloor, yes.
Bloor, I've heard of that.
Okay,
I've
good.
heard of that.
There's a
Bloor,
start.
Bloor and what's the other? Everything's always Bloor or
And
something.
Young.
Okay.
Bloor and, yeah.
No,
right.
Young. No, that's like the biggest.
It's the main artery.
That's like
Yep.
the main
Correct.
of Toronto.
Yes.
I believe that. I think I've heard this.
Yes.
If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. That Yonge Street is like the longest street in Canada.
Yes, from what I've heard. Yeah.
Now,
I'm not
where
sure
does
if that's an entirely accurate
that's
statement, but I do think that it is.
if you watch the camera, you see how the camera's picking up the sun and the. It's just kind of interesting. Anyway,
Yeah.
so where does Young
Well,
run
what's that
from? From where to where?
Well, from the downtown core
Huron
up
County
to,
folk.
so from the downtown core right up to, okay, I'll be honest, as far as I've ever gotten on Yonge Street in terms of what I've been doing, was Yonge and Finch. It extends far beyond that,
Okay.
but that would be the core of what I would still consider Toronto.
Okay, so where were you born?
I was actually born in a place called Malton.
Okay.
So that's within, I think, Mississauga's jurisdiction.
Okay.
Just a suburb outside of Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what brought you into Toronto?
School, so university. So I did my undergrad at Glendon College, which is at Bayview and Lawrence. So that obviously made me relocate. And yeah, it was entirely school. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, what did you study in school?
Political science.
What is political science?
Oh, now we're really getting into. Okay, well, political science is essentially, in the degree that you're doing, it's a confluence of history, philosophy, international relations. It's essentially anything that would give you a better understanding of what politics is about. So there's a lot of foundational questions on that. Like, so we could dig into philosophical ones, because of course politics, that dates back to the beginning of time, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
But to get a good grasp, you'll have your modern history, which is a fundamental pillar of understanding anything that's going on around you, which is also something that arms you for, understanding government as we know it today.
Right.
So yeah, it's a confluence of many different subject matters that just sort of give you a good grasp of what is it that we're dealing with today in terms of issues in policy and good governance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a political person, like, at all, and I really have no idea what she even
just said.
I really don't.
I thought it was pretty straightforward.
Well, it probably was super straightforward, but for somebody that's not into politics, who's never really followed politics, yeah, I really don't even know what that means.
Okay.
But last week, I should probably disclose this information. Dagny and myself were actually going to do a podcast last weekend. And we got together, we sat down, and we started talking
And
with
it never
with
ended.
with full intentions of doing this podcast. But she's such a fascinating person, and she's so interesting. We just kind of got talking, and we covered so many different topics and so on and so forth that we never ended up doing the podcast. We just kind of got lost in conversation and never ended up doing the podcast. So she's back in the area this weekend, so we just thought, well, let's do this. Let's do this today. And but you did talk about with with the politics and being your line of work and stuff, that you had worked on Barack Obama's election campaign. So tell me a little bit about that, with you being Canadian and working with an American election, and what election that was, because I do believe he was in for 2 terms.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. So by the time that I started doing my undergrad, that was when Obama was running for, in my first year of undergrad, he was running for re-election. So that was the 2012 campaign.
Okay.
It was a phenomenal experience, and what really drew me to that was essentially the fact that I was studying politics. I was involved in Canadian politics, but I got the opportunity to go and dig into American politics. And I thought, wow, how fascinating it was to see the difference between our political system and our neighbors to the south that are quite close. And also, I thought it was just Obama himself was a candidate that I was really into, and I really wanted to see him win again. And I just saw the policies and everything that he's worked for, and I thought, gee, in my understanding of the privileges we have in Canada, insofar as, let's say, healthcare is concerned, I thought, wow, this is a grander point and a grander policy that I would like to see people benefit from. You know, little things like that. It's just that I am a liberal, 100%, and I just sort of thought that there's a lot lacking, as there is in any society, in the American one. And I thought, wow, if I can just be a little part of that change, then I would be very happy. And that's what we did. So I was stationed in North Carolina, met a lot of great people there, friends that are just fantastic. That little bit of experience actually armed me with the political acumen and knowledge to sort of take that back in terms of the way they organized in a grassroots way to Canada. And that's what we did. So it was, it was a great experience.
So 2 questions.
Yeah.
Did you actually meet Barack Obama in person? And how, as a Canadian, how did you get involved with American politics?
Very good questions. 1, no, I did not meet Barack Obama.
Okay.
It's just such a wild machine, right?
Right.
Like any political campaign would be in terms of a federal mandate. It was, no, you don't meet Barack Obama.
Okay.
But what it is that the ideals you're working for are so instilled in you that you don't need to meet Barack Obama.
Okay.
You just know that what you're doing is essentially in line with this person believes in, and that's all I really care for. And then insofar as number 2 goes, how did I get involved as a Canadian? Well, it was as simple as going to my first political convention, running into a lot of people that had similar interests as me, and then a friend of mine coming up with the idea that we're going to create this movement of young Canadians that want to gain that political experience, because this was not an election cycle in Canada.
Right.
So it's not like our forces were needed elsewhere.
Okay.
And we could just get in there and get a different perspective on how the political machinations work there, how they work well, and then take that knowledge back to Canada and see if we can apply it. Yeah.
Okay, so have you been able to, or have you seen the stuff that happened in America that you liked here in Canada?
You know what? Absolutely. So in terms of the political organization, which we were very much steeped in North Carolina, yeah, absolutely. It was a whole different approach in terms of grassroots politics that was then applied in the 2015 campaign
Okay.
federally. And a lot of that stemmed from the experience we got in 2012. We were able to sort of digest it, crystallize it, and apply it, and it ended up being successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a political person, so she's using terms that I'm not quite familiar with. So what is grassroots politics? What is that?
Oh, okay. Sorry, there's just
Like I'm familiar, so we got a
fire.
fire.
Yeah, we've got a fire here.
We actually have a
I'm
we actually have a
swatting it away.
campfire going like literally just off of camera, so it's a little windy out right now. I know what bluegrass is as a bluegrass music fan, but what is bluegrass? What does that mean?
Bluegrass? To
Or,
me?
sorry,
To me?
sorry, no, your grass politics.
Grassroots.
Grassroots.
Bluegrass. Let's call it bluegrass politics.
Grassroots politics.
Well, you get an instrument out and kidding. No, grassroots. It's essentially it's what it sounds like. It's from the ground up is essentially
Okay.
what it is. Grassroots, right? So what we're talking about in terms of the ground is just people who are just people.
Okay.
It's your communities. It's your neighbor. It's
Okay.
your friend. It's people. It's engaging with people on that grassroots level, right?
Okay. No, I understand. Okay.
Versus like a corporate sort of
Right.
what seems to be an impermeable
Right.
boundary. It's just the community, and it's word of mouth. It's really reaching out to people with the message, knocking on doors, making phone calls, things like that really garner that support to get somebody elected, because that's what wins elections.
Right.
Yeah, it's just getting people on board.
Okay, so now Barack Obama is no longer president of the United States. Now,
This is true.
this, I think you know where I'm going with this, and we don't have to entertain this, but we have a completely different president south of the border
Completely different.
with a completely different attitude, completely different outlook, different morals, different everything. If you were in the position now, would you work under the Donald Trump administration?
Never.
Okay.
Never. That would be as motivating as ever to actually get in there and try to make a change. Because
Okay.
I'm not American, so maybe I can't opine on that. But,
Right.
But I do anyway.
Okay. I'm gonna ask a question.
Yes.
You do not have to answer this question because
Okay.
I really don't want to open up a whole can of worms, and I'm not a political person, so I kind of like to understand what it is I'm talking about or what we're talking about.
That's okay.
But what are the reasons or reason why you don't support or believe in the Trump administration?
Oh my gosh.
I think I just opened
You did
up
open a can of worms. There are so many, I don't know where to begin. Jeez. I just feel like the man is wildly out of touch with the vast majority of his electorate, for
Okay.
starters. I think that perhaps there's an appeal that he can sort of pander to, but there are just so many social inequalities rampant, and there's nothing being done to address them. First of all. Secondly, I think he's wildly unfit to be a world leader.
Can I?
Yeah, please.
Okay. With that being said,
Mm-hmm.
he did win.
Good point.
He is president of the United States of America. So
Correct.
obviously he won the majority.
Mm-hmm.
the majority voted for him to run the country. So
Sure.
obviously more people
Mhm.
think he is fit than people that think he is unfit. What do you think the people that voted that basically think that he is fit to run the country, what do you think
Mhm.
like their mindset is? Like where do you
Sure.
think that like
Yeah.
why they feel like
Yeah.
he won?
He did, absolutely. Good point. Absolutely, he did win. However, to your point on mindset of the electorate that did elect him,
Right.
what I think anyone can do is sort of look at the historical context of everything.
Okay.
In the sense that when you see times of turmoil, times of strife, when people look towards somebody that can potentially be a choice that is outside of the norm, someone that is charismatic,
Right.
and that they believe can turn things around. So it usually happens in moments of desperation. We'll look at different totalitarian leaders, for example, um, when we talk about Franco, Mussolini, what have you. Those people rose to power out of moments of deep social uncertainty
Okay.
within their electorate. So people look for something that's different, that they believe might be the answer to fuel change. And I think
Right.
that they saw a lot of the same going on, and they thought, you know, Donald Trump might be the guy that'll turn that around.
Okay. Now Trump is he's had a lot of like everybody knew who he was before he ran in politics. Like um, he was
Absolutely, yeah. He had his name out there.
yeah
So,
he
so
everybody
yes.
knows his name. He was very much a business person, so on and so forth. Now you have people like this is just all stuff that I've heard on social media and stuff like people like Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
You know, Oprah for president.
See, I'm not a big social media
and so on and
person,
so
but
forth.
okay.
Do you think that maybe Donald Trump winning the election and becoming president of the United States of America is almost like a popularity thing? Like I think, like I honestly believe that if Oprah, like just say like Oprah Winfrey was to run for president, like she might actually win
Yeah,
and
so
become president because it's a
name
popularity
recognition.
contest.
Well, you're talking about name recognition, and that's
Right.
a huge. That's absolute. Yeah, you're not wrong. That's a huge factor, right? If you've got name recognition, then you're appealing to a lot of
Right.
the electorate, right? It's as
Yeah.
simple as that.
I think it's a
Doesn't
psychological thing.
absolutely, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee winning,
No,
but it is a step ahead. Yeah, you've
I
got that advantage.
I think if Oprah Winfrey ran for president, I think she would win. Just because
Oh, let's call her up and get her to run.
you know what? I should get Oprah Winfrey on the podcast and get her point of view.
There's an idea.
Highly unlikely at this point in
Oh,
time
well, don't
for
sell
area
yourself short.
for Area 519 talks. But I think
But
you know,
you're not wrong. Yeah,
I
there
think
would definitely be a
it-
huge following.
I think it could be. I think it
Mhm.
could be like a total like a popularity contest. My place of employment,
Mhm.
where I work, the president of my company that I work for, the boss, he absolutely loves Donald Trump. He thinks Donald Trump is the best thing that's ever happened, like to the world. He absolutely supports him 100%. And talking to my employer, to my boss, he's made some very interesting points as uh, Donald Trump really doesn't take any shit from anybody. He doesn't stand down. He stands his ground. Um, he kind of like he puts his foot down and he kind of makes shit happen.
And it is an appealing feature, and I think that actually what you're speaking to is largely a factor in why he was elected.
Right.
Because he presents himself as somebody that is very decisive.
Yeah.
And confident.
Yeah, doesn't take shit from nobody.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's appealing, sure.
So
however, there's a lot of other underlying factors that need to be understood, or that would optimally be understood by
Right.
a lot of people, but that doesn't necessarily factor into, your boss's day-to-day life.
Right.
He sees someone who's decisive, he can
Right.
identify with that and like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with you being Canadian
Yes.
and being a liberal,
Mhm.
where do you stand on Justin Trudeau? Because I go on Facebook. Like, I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm constantly, scrolling through all the bullshit. And constantly, every third meme is some bullshit, some sarcastic, something towards to do with Justin Trudeau being completely incompetent to be able to run this company, and that he's basically an idiot. Like, you can't deny, like, that's all over social media. As a liberal,
right?
Where do you stand on?
Okay, well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you as a liberal, but I'll also tell you just as a human being.
Okay.
I feel that, in terms of your social media and my social media, it's going to be different when
Absolutely.
you log into Facebook and I log into Facebook. Reasons for that is that, your people that are, within your friends network are generally people that you probably have grown up with or you've known, and they're very specific to the area that you live in.
Right.
Whereas the same thing is true for mine. And so the fact that you may see these posts as Justin Trudeau, not being as competent as you'd like him to be,
right,
is, I think it's a result of it's a community outlook, right? So from my perspective, I actually think he's a great leader. I really do. I do, 100%. I think the country's in much better hands than it was before.
Okay.
However, what interests you have, as we talked in the beginning of the podcast,
right,
are wildly different than mine, right?
That's right.
And that doesn't make them wrong or right. It just means that, you're not concerned about the same things I'm concerned about, because I live in the city, you live out here, right? So we're going to have these differences on these issues, but that translates into different positions on different policies, right?
Okay.
And so you might think one way about one policy, I'll think another, and so your social media network will be reinforcing that notion, right? So every time you'll log in, you'll be like, oh, well, yeah, he's an idiot and this and this and that.
Right.
And, I don't believe that, and my social media is going to tell me differently, but it's because we sort of engage in this one network, and it's hard to branch out of it.
Right.
And so then we're inundated with that type of information, and then we believe it to be true, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay, and it's that's essentially it.
Like I said, I'm not political. I've never been into politics. I don't really follow politics.
Right, but you don't. Yeah,
you don't
have to say that. It's just as long as you have an
but,
interest in something. Yeah,
but I'm almost.
That's it. That's politics.
I'm almost 44, and
Ooh.
yeah. I have, and I'm not embarrassed to say it.
Why would you?
But I have never voted once in my entire. I have never voted.
Really?
I just disassociate myself with politics. I don't understand it. I've never followed it.
But you don't have to. You don't see. That's the thing about politics.
I have never ever once cast a vote for anything. The last time I think I voted for something was grade 8 in public school, when we were voting for who was going to be class president.
Okay,
in grade 8.
And why did you vote for class president in grade 8? Honestly, honest question. Why did you vote for your class president?
That is actually a fantastic question.
Good.
I don't even know if I can even answer that. I don't even really know.
Okay.
I remember the two people that were voting. It was Scott Youngblood.
That were running.
For class president in Holmesville Public School.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like Sarah Langendoon or something like that. Awesome if you're watching this. And I voted for Scott because he was like one of my friends, right? That had nothing to do with like whatever their fucking campaign was, like putting Coca-Cola in the fountains or some bullshit, something like that. It was just, that's who I know, that's my buddy. So that's who I'm going to vote for. But I have never voted in a political election.
Okay,
never once in my life.
So I may be a little different in that sense. Like, I would have probably cared about the Coca-Cola going into the vending machine and then voted for the person who's going to get it in there. If
No,
that's
it was
what I
actually.
wanted.
I remember in his speech,
Right.
it was actually in the fountains.
Oh. So we were just wildly insincere there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There's going to be pop flowing through the fountains.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but then on another note, it's just the fact that you went and voted for somebody that you know and you're comfortable with and you stand
Right.
behind is a huge element in politics, right? So like Donald Trump, like any other candidate, will garner that support that's generally, not entirely informed in the certain specific policy
Right.
deliberations that will come out of that choice. They will just vote for somebody that they think is, as you said, your boss says, decisive,
Right.
consistent, stands up, takes no
Yeah.
shit from anybody, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's essentially it. So I think you need to vote next time an election comes around. You do, and you don't have to be political. Just
Right.
care about one issue or the other. See who presents the best solution for you. Cast your vote.
I've often heard that people when they vote, I was like, well, who are you gonna vote for? What makes you decide who to vote for? And they basically, and that it's very consistent across the board. At least here in the rural, like people that I hang out with, who are much like myself, is basically vote for the lesser of two evils.
Okay, well now you're getting strategic.
Can I
Yeah.
leave you to handle this? Well, I gotta take a pee.
Go ahead, but
I'm just
I
gonna
don't
go
know what
off
I'm gonna...
camera,
Yes.
and I'm just gonna urinate real quick, and then.
And am I still supposed to be talking?
And
Okay.
you're gonna talk.
All right. Well, he's gone now. We can go on wild political deliberations. I guess hang on to what we just left off on. And I'll just take this moment to just toss my message out there and say, whether you think you're political or not, go out there and vote. As long as you care about an issue, see which party platform can provide it to you, and cast your vote that way. I really hope you're done so you can get back
I'm
here.
almost done.
But that's the crux of the issue, yeah. I think it's a shame that a lot of people say they're not political and therefore they stray away from politics and think that they have no say in it, because it's actually that grassroots support that can tip the scale in whichever party's favor. And it's important. There you go.
All right, we're back. Good job holding down the fort, by the way.
Thank you. Yes. All right. Did you have any moments of awakening while you were away?
That felt really good. We've actually been
Oh God.
we've been sitting out here having a few beverages, and like I said, it's a beautiful day.
We're gonna blank out the name, right? Because we're
Oh,
not doing any free spawns.
Every podcast I do, there's always like a big beer bush can sitting in front of the camera, but
Okay, all right. They can pay us later.
let's
Yeah.
stray away from.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of loop away from the politics right now.
Good.
So yeah. No, that was good though. That was really good. It was super interesting. It really was. As somebody that's non-political, to hear somebody that's into politics and very passionate and does it, works in politics for a living. But so you've been experiencing country life, rural life.
I have.
Explain or tell me a little bit about some of the highlights it's been, or some of your highlights of getting out of the city and experiencing this beautiful our background here, being out of the city and out in the country in the rural community.
So I got my fishing license.
Okay.
I
don't even have one of those.
Oh, actually.
I don't. I haven't had a fishing license.
You probably
in
shouldn't
years.
advertise that. Did you
That's
catch
all right.
anything?
If the game warden's watching this, big fucking.
So I caught a lot.
I'll get one.
I'll get
Just
one.
Relax. Everything's closed right now, so I can't get a fishing license.
You do it online.
Oh, can you? Is that the... All right,
I've been slaying bows like it's nobody's business.
So tell me about that.
Amazing. Just sitting by the river, surrounded by complete calm, not a siren in earshot, not a building in sight. It is so soothing, and it's just, even just the activity of casting and reeling it in is just amazing to me. It's almost, meditational.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But to think that, this can actually constitute somebody's day-to-day life, to me is like, wow. You actually wake up and you've got the river right down to the other side, and you
Yeah.
just go down there and fish and enjoy nature's beauty and get to really appreciate it and live it every day. That's a treat that, and I hate to say, I don't mean I'm speaking for us Toronto folk, but I'd say that for me, that was always a treat, to get out of the city and just see some nature.
Okay.
So it's exotic almost. It's like, ooh,
So-
I'm fishing.
So you went fishing for the first time last weekend, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And what was the first fish that you caught?
A trout.
A rainbow trout.
Big rainbow trout.
And
I've got photos. I can prove it.
And how was that?
At first, it was challenging. I had a lot of guidance from a friend.
Yes.
But once I reeled it in, my first thought was like, oh no, I'm hurting it. I
Okay.
gotta toss it back in.
Right.
He's like, no, you've got a limit, and we can actually have this for dinner. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm actually gonna eat this.
And did you?
Yeah.
Okay. So how
I
did...
just don't want to see it being killed.
Right.
I
Okay,
want to
so-
catch it, get that euphoria, and then leave it.
So you caught the fish,
It's not practical, is it? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then you had basically the spoils of the hunt
Mm.
for your dinner. How was that? Like, explain that to me.
Just the way you presented that is exactly what it is. It's amazing. You feel like you're, one with the circle of life, I guess.
Right.
Not to sound over dramatic, but it just feels great. It's like back to basics. I don't have to go to the grocery store. I can just catch it in the river.
Right.
It's, you're providing for yourself. It feels good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I
There's
did...
a lot of realizations coming
Yeah.
out of that one fishing trip.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. I did see the friend of ours that took her fishing. He showed me some of the pictures of
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, did he?
of some of the fish that she caught, and
Right.
Then there was a picture
Caught him.
of a fish, and it was the most spectacular photo I've ever seen of somebody
It's
holding.
the one I'm losing.
Yeah, where you're like losing the fish.
Yeah,
And
I was
I
holding it. It wiggled, and I'm like, oh no!
Yeah.
Did you catch the shot?
This photo of her holding this fish was so spectacular. I actually said that even though you caught the fish in the pictures of you, I would make that photo my Facebook profile picture. It was so...
It is my Facebook profile
I know
picture
it
now.
is. I know
I
it is.
changed it.
Yeah, I seen that.
Got a lot of comments on it.
Thank you for adding me, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. Pleasure's
But,
mine. Yes.
but yeah, the picture of this fish, and you guys will never see it, but the picture of this fish that she's holding, and just it was so amazing. Yeah, I would have made it my profile picture. It was so...
Just flopped right away out
it
of my
was very
hand.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me more about from the city, living in the city, and you still live in the city, like you still have a residence there, but
Correct. Yeah.
with circumstances, you're kind of transitioned and you're residing more in a rural community outside of the city. Tell me more about that. Like, from somebody that's always lived, like I lived in the city very briefly, like in Edmonton, for a couple years, but Edmonton is really kind of small and minuscule compared to like downtown Toronto. So just tell me that...
It's funny that you say that.
That transition
right.
from that to
because,
experiencing life now.
Well, to me, downtown Toronto's not, what to I guess most people seems huge and vast and.
It is.
Just, every time I hop on the subway, I'll run into somebody I know.
Okay.
And it's and for me, it's like it's a bit of a spider web of streets and streetcars and subways, but I know it inside out. It's just That's just me.
Right.
But going outside of Toronto right now, like this is very new. Oh, I got some ash in my
Yeah.
eye.
Actually, I'm gonna put some more wood on the fire here.
Right. Um, but yeah, no, it's a huge transition, even in something so slight as having to think about how much time it's going to take you to go into town, to go to the grocery store and buy dinner. I just go downstairs
Now,
in my
do you
apartment.
mean that? Okay, just living in the city, you live in town.
Exactly. Well, exactly. I guess if you put it that way, exactly. So to factor in the 45 minutes that it takes to drive into town and back out of it, you're going to put a lot more thought into what it is you need to get done.
Right. You think about it, like when you live in, like, for us in a rural community, you know, say like any towns in the 519 area, you know, we have like 75, 100,000 people. Or, you know, you get into Stratford, which is a bit of a, I'm not sure if Stratford's classified as a city, but it's a bigger town in the area. And that's like, you know, 250,000 people. So you get into Toronto, like we're talking like metropolitan. So there's like over 10 million people.
I believe it's 6, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if you're
Regardless,
counting the GTA, sure. Okay.
10 million people. That's like, you know, that's a big town. You know, they just can't go out into their backyard and, you know, start
have
a campfire.
See, it's the simple joys that I am becoming enlightened to right now.
Like,
the simple joys of
like
a campfire and fishing.
This is the part of, you know, living in the country and being in a rural community. You know, like these are the spoils of living a life out here is being able to just go out into your backyard, you know.
If you're lucky enough to have a backyard.
And yeah, and,
right?
and just have a fire and have, you know, and just enjoy that. Where you live in Toronto, do you have a backyard where you can just start a fire?
I do not. Yeah, exactly. I do not. So we drive 3 hours up north just to get that experience. Hence why it seems so different and exotic.
Right. Yeah. Now, where is it that you resort to as somebody that's in the city that wants to escape for the long weekend or whatever, you want to take a week's holidays? Where is escaping the city? Where is that for you?
Generally, the line is drawn in Muskoka, I think, is where a lot of cottagers go.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful area.
I myself right now am in Wyerton, so it's a bit off the beaten path. But, okay, to your question, actually, this just came to me. Wasaga, Sauble, those are very popular.
Right.
Tourist beach destinations, you know, that's where you go to get out of the city, have a nice time, and then go back.
Right.
And then you never really pay attention to the actual workings of that community in itself. There are people that are settled there, and it doesn't really cross your mind. At least it didn't cross mine.
Okay.
I'm not going to pretend to speak to all of Torontonians right now.
Do you know what Wyerton is famous for?
Wyerton Willie.
All right.
Yes.
Groundhog
Been there for 2 months now.
Okay.
I still don't really get it though. Why Willie? Did somebody name the groundhog Willie?
Well, somebody named it.
Okay. Well, he's all over the posters.
It fits.
And
Wyerton Willie, right?
Yeah.
So.
See, I know.
So you're staying. So tell me about life in Wyerton right now. Like, where are you staying? What do you do there during? Nick, give me a typical day.
Okay.
In Wyerton.
You know what? I get up. I look at the beautiful lakefront in front of me, and thank God that I'm able to experience it. It's fantastic. I grab my fishing rod. I go out, cast a few lines, catch nothing. Because I'm probably doing it all wrong, but that's okay. It feels good. I do a little work, which is remote right now, and of course, not as demanding as it used to be. For however long, we don't know. And then I dig into my Hebrew classes.
Have you ever heard the phrase white rabbits?
A phrase? No, I've seen white rabbits.
If you talk about white rabbits, it's supposed to make the smoke go away.
Oh, and it did.
There you
Wow.
go. And it works.
See, that's another thing I've learned while I was out here.
If you're sitting around a campfire and the smoke's hitting you in the face, you're supposed to say something like, "I hate white rabbits" or something. So
Where does that come from?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
That is quite really random.
It's the stupidest thing.
But it's gonna stick, and I will speak up. White rabbit.
White rabbit.
It's not going away that way.
Like I said, we literally have a campfire, like just off camera. We have a campfire.
I think you need to ask a question about white rabbits, and we need to get the smoke out of it. Can you eat them? White rabbits? Do you like hunt them and?
You can eat any rabbit.
I guess.
Rabbits are.
I mean, you can, sure.
Well, you can eat anything you want.
Enjoyable.
You can eat a skunk if you want. And there is a common phrase in this area that is, "I'm so hungry I can eat the asshole out of a skunk right now."
My God. Oh, that's disgusting.
That's a phrase. I'm so hungry I could eat the asshole out of a skunk.
Oh
right
my
now.
God. Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
No, I don't.
There's still a lot of trout in the river.
We have off camera. We actually have a couple friends actually preparing.
No, it's not a skunk.
Not skunk cat, not the ass out of a skunk. But we do have a couple friends that are preparing some steak and some other very delicious eats for us when we finish this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Which,
that's.
We're going for a while now.
It's only like 40 some minutes. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yes, that is a phrase here in the rural community.
Yeah. That's two phrases. Well, white rabbits to get the smoke of the fire
away, and
then
eat the asshole out of a dead skunk when you're hungry.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know.
So, how long are you in Wyerton for, and when are you returning back to the city?
Good question, for which I don't have a clear answer for you, actually. I'm trying to stay away from the city at the moment. Love it dearly.
Yeah,
However, me too. No, I do. I do love it dearly. But I'm actually trying to socially distance myself from the roommates in my house. And I find that being out here in the countryside is actually providing me with a lot more things to do than I could if I was in my normal, regular, I should say, habitat in Toronto. So there's a lot less restrictions in terms of me being able to go to a park. There's not a lot of people. I don't come in contact with a lot of people, and I actually like that. I enjoy my solitude. Yeah. Aside from this.
The last time I was in Toronto was actually 3 weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
I talked, I think it was episode number 7.
Oh, you went to Toronto to do that. Good for you.
On my podcast, I did my DMT experience. So that was in Toronto, somewhere down, I'm not even going to tell you.
Don't.
It was actually, it was like 10 minutes from the CN Tower in the Sky Dome.
Okay, with traffic or without?
With traffic.
Okay.
So that's where
very close.
Yeah. So
very close.
So I had my...
So you could have walked, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So my 519 area listeners, yes. So my DMT experience was in Toronto. And the last time I was in Toronto before that was the AC/DC concert, which Derby Dave and myself spoke about in, I think, episode 8 or 7 or something.
I think it was 8.
And so yeah, I don't visit the city very much. I don't care for the city. I don't like the city.
Oh.
I don't. It's just not for me.
It's just different, right?
Yeah, it's just what you're used to, right?
But you go there sometimes for entertainment, right? And you enjoy it for a little bit, and then you go back to your roots.
But I could, I really couldn't see myself living in a city again. Like I said, I lived in Edmonton, Alberta, back in 2007 and 2008. And yeah, Edmonton is really hardly comparable to Toronto, but even living in Edmonton was almost too much for me. I don't even, like, to be honest with you, I don't even care for driving through Stratford. I am so rural. I am so Huron County.
And that's great. That's your roots.
I
Good
don't
for you.
like. I will, I'll do it, but I just prefer not to even. Like, I would rather drive to Goderich to go to Canadian Tire than drive all the way across Stratford to go to Canadian Tire.
I love that I actually understand that. Before, like, if you had asked me a couple weeks ago, I would have been like, oh, what's he talking about? I'm like, yeah, you can get to that Canadian Tire. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So, let's keep this going.
What are your future plans?
Oh no, Mom.
No.
What are your future plans?
No.
Carry on.
Not
Sorry.
long term. Like,
Right.
are you? Obviously, you're going to return back to the city.
Yeah, at some point I have to.
At some point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Is that a question, or is that like, what's the question?
Like, are you looking forward to returning back to to what you consider normal?
Well, we can let's look at this through the perspective of this analogy. You know, you're a child. You're on a play date. You never want it to end. I just don't want this to end.
like between us, like this play date.
No, this can end.
Because I'm quite enjoying
very shortly.
Because I'm quite enjoying this play date.
Okay, I am too. Yes, thanks. Yeah.
Well, now you're just lying to me.
I'm being polite.
Okay.
I have no choice. You know what? There's a lot of things I miss, and I do miss life as I know it, just grinding back into gear. And there's a lot of things that I would like to dive right back into in Toronto. I just know I cannot right now, so I'm very much enjoying where I'm at right now.
Now, what is it you miss about the city?
You know, proximity. Just things being within arm's reach. My friends. Just feeling like I'm right in the middle of it all, and in the middle of it all, meaning you know, the work I do. It's just everything's within arm's reach. Everything's accessible, convenient. So those are definitely things I miss.
Okay. So, where you're staying in Wyerton-ish area, what are the things that you value and enjoy that you're extremely going to miss?
Right, okay, but yeah, I'll answer that, but I just thought about more to what I miss about Toronto now that I just haven't had a second to reflect on it, but just the cultural diversity too.
Right.
And just knowing that, you know, the library is just around the corner. If I want to go have Ethiopian food, I can right down the street. Chinatown's not too far either way. If there's a market I want to go to, I can go and I can just see things from all different walks of life, and it's all there crystallized in this hub of Toronto. So that's what I miss. And now you're saying in Wyerton, what am I going to miss when I go back?
Right.
Oh gosh, so much. Just the beauty of nature in itself. The ability to just walk outside of, you know, the front door to my house right now and just hear silence. I enjoy that. It's calming. So I'm going to really miss the peacefulness.
Okay.
And yeah, that's about it.
If you had to choose, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay, well,
if you
I am
had
on the
to,
spot.
if you had to choose right now, on the spot.
Oh no.
City life or
don't make me do
or
this.
country life or rural life.
Okay.
What would you pick right now on the spot?
I would opt for a hybrid. Well, right now I'm pretty biased, so I'm loving the country life.
Okay.
But you know, that is a tough question. That's not
I
fair.
know.
That's not fair.
I put you
That's
on the
not
spot.
fair,
I put you on the spot.
Yeah.
And
you know what?
I didn't really expect.
Tune back in a couple of weeks, and maybe I'll have a more crystallized answer.
I didn't really expect an honest answer. I just wanted.
Yeah. Well, there is none. I haven't digested it.
Okay.
But my heart is definitely in Toronto right now. It's where I'm from.
Well, yeah, just like mine's here in Huron County.
But I'm discovering a whole new side to my heart here in Huron County.
Right.
So it's conflicting.
Okay, I completely understand.
I'm just learning so much every day. So I don't want to stop learning about these things, how to plant something, how to fish for something, how to catch something, which way the wind's blowing.
Now, last weekend we we had a conversation,
Mhm.
and I want to ask if it's okay if I bring this up, because to me it was super, super funny.
Then it's probably fine.
And to you, it may make you look like a idiot,
Sure.
which was a term that I learned last weekend.
Which I am in this neck of the woods.
About
yeah.
cows and milk.
Oh no, that's embarrassing. But let's do it.
Okay.
It's up now. I'm gonna have to crack another beer for this. Oh no. Do you have anything stronger?
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's interesting because she grew up in the city and stuff. Our us here in County Folk and my area 519 viewers, when we talk about milk production, where milk comes from in the process.
White rabbits.
White rabbits.
Trying to get the smoke out of my face.
We were talking about like where milk comes from and how it's produced, and I thought it was kind of cute that.
Embarrassing.
Okay, embarrassing.
Oh sure. Okay, we'll call it cute.
Okay. But for a cow, maybe some of my area 519 listeners aren't even aware of this. That could be quite possible too.
Oh, they're gonna laugh. Okay.
But in order for a cow to produce milk, it's no different than a human woman. In order to produce milk, they have to have a baby. They have to have offspring. And once they have a baby, then they start to lactate.
Right, but we were talking about dairy farms and milking and the practice of milking and how it's all, technologically now. And
but it was cute to, to realize that she didn't understand the concept of.
Well, because you brought up a bunch of calves.
Well,
and I thought, oh, baby cows, cool. And why are there so many of them?
Yeah. That a cow has to calve, and then when she calves, then she starts to lactate.
Right.
And then in the process, or in that, then she starts to produce milk, and then we milk the cow.
So I know that now.
That is lactating from giving birth to a calf. So
I know that now. And again, I don't want to discredit all the other Torontonians out there that are well aware of this, which I was not. I just thought, well, cows give milk. End of story.
Right.
There's just a cow. It gives milk.
In chocolate
you
milk.
You may also, well, okay.
In chocolate milk
not
comes
that
from
naive.
Brown cows.
Oh my God. See, okay, no. I mean, I guess there's nothing I can say to defend myself right now, because that would have been the same line of thought. But no, I mean, just like milk. I mean, what you do with milk, whether you make it brown, white, red, whatever, that's a different thing. It's just cows give milk.
Yeah.
That was, see, another realization.
Yeah. Although in her defense, brown eggs do come from brown chickens. That is legit, and white eggs come from white chickens.
Oh, is that? See, I just learned that right now. See, I can't go back anytime soon. I'm just learning so much. No, but really, that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So brown eggs actually do come from brown hens.
Okay.
And your white eggs come from white
Can
chickens.
A brown hen lay a white egg?
I don't think so.
Ah, okay.
I don't think so. I think brown hens lay brown eggs.
Okay. All right.
So.
Did the chicken come before the egg? Is the question. Maybe this is the answer I've been looking for.
Okay, let's discuss this.
No, I want an answer.
Okay.
Which came first? I'm not here for nothing.
The chicken or the egg?
Yep.
I think the chicken came first. If I had to.
Okay, now we have to explore that.
Okay.
Okay, why? White rabbits.
White rabbits. Well, the chicken had to have come first.
Okay. Well, who created the chicken? Where did it come from? God? Okay.
Creation.
Right? No, but I'm interested. I know. But no, please, I'm interested. So the chicken had to come first. Why?
Well, you can argue this, all day, but the chicken came first.
Done and done?
That's all I got.
No arguments to be had. It came first.
That's all right. I got.
Thank you. So that's another thing I learned.
Yeah. I don't have any proof to support that, but that's just.
Well, then.
Chicken came first. Cows produce milk.
I have no proof to support it.
I don't.
It just is.
I wasn't here when creation was created.
Yeah, neither was I. You know what? Yeah. Okay, your guess is as good as mine then. Okay.
So anyway, we
Science aside, of course. But
we are at 1 hour.
I think that's about it.
You're good?
I'm good, but quite a few beers.
Yeah, myself included.
I'm happy to take this conversation offline.
And I got to take another massive piss again. So.
And this fire is just burning. Yeah. I think, yeah,
so,
it's run its course.
So anyway, that's episode number 10, Area 519 Talks.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's an absolute pleasure.
With my new friend Dagny. Make sure to hit a like, hit a subscribe, and until episode number 11, we'll see you next time.